Good evening, welcome to Oracle, 90-day University Professional Pre-Final Mastery course by Oracle. Today is the second class about study designs in epidemiology. Today we will be learning about revision and all important questions regarding to study designs, volatile facts, high-yield topics, as well as most expected topics. Today we will be discussing cross-sectional studies, ecological studies, community trials, and nested case control studies and field trials. Why Oracle? Oracle is a program where you can learn 5 modes of learning, that is recorded classes, live classes, practical sessions, exam modules, as well as hard copy book sets. In recorded classes, you'll be having convenient way of revision, where it is a flexible way of learning and expert instructors will be available for you. Whereas in live classes, it has an in-depth coverage, experienced educators, and we have interactive learning. Okay. Whereas in Express exam module, you can complete the whole syllabus in 20 hours of time. That is less than a day. And you'll be given answer writing skills also by our expert educators. And we'll have one-to-one doubts clearing session, which is student-centric approach. And we'll be having personalized attention from all the expert educators. And you'll be having a safe learning environment. And you'll be having a hard copy book sets also whenever you feel tiring of seeing the screen or watching the online. You can go back to your books and you can revise all the question papers you read it, which are of 10 years, and you will be having interactive learning with this also. And you'll be getting a question bank also, which is of 3 levels, from beginner to expert level, which will be having a customized question bank which covers professional exams, NEET PG and FMGE exams. And in practical sessions, you will have hands-on experience and you can face your exams of practicals or viva voce with complete confidence. With this, we'll have 4 subscription plan for this. That is 3 months plan, which is a foundation plan for 19,999, and advanced learning plan, which is 32,999, and complete learning plan for 60,000, whereas ultimate learning plan for 1.9 lakhs. Do not worry, you will be having a discount code also. You can use the discount codes displayed below for your subscription plans. With this, we'll be starting the first question. Write a note on cross-sectional studies, methodology, advantages, and limitations. You'll be writing only 10 points for a short essay. Please do not write more than this, even though you have more points over here. Please do write 10 to 15 points maximum to get the complete marks, because time management in your exams is very important. Okay. It is an observational design. It involves looking at the data from population at one specific in time. It measures the outcomes and exposures in the same time. Outcome and exposure in the same time. It is described as what? It is described as a snapshot. It is called as a photo of study or a group of individuals who are under study. Unlike control studies, in control studies, case control studies, what will be there? Subject selected based on outcome basis. Okay, outcome status. In cohort studies, subjects is selected based on exposure status before the exposure is happening. Subjects are chosen for an available population relevant to the study. Okay, in this, no prospective or retrospective follow-up. There's nothing called past and future. It is at that point of time. This is the methodology. Selection of subjects from available population. Okay, this is the target population. You will select the samples, gather the data at that point of time, both on exposure and outcome. Then we have exposed and outcome present, exposed and no outcome, unexposed and outcome present, unexposed and no outcome. These are the 4 categories you can get in this. What is the use of clinical research? Mainly used to understand the prevalence of the disease at that point of time. Okay, what is prevalence? Proportion of persons in a population with a particular disease or disorder at given time. How does it differentiate from incidence? Incidence refers to new cases developing in a period. Okay, we call it as point prevalence. Example: to establish the relationship between dietary habits and obesity among adolescents, you ask about the diet and check the body weight or everything and all. Okay, that we can see in the method. Adolescents complete a diet survey. You know the types of diet survey: 24-hour survey, inventory method, expenditure method, and all. Then we have outcome variable, that is obesity based on BMI, exposure, types of food, what they're consuming, and findings. You can get the findings then and there itself. What is the limitations? You can't establish the causal relationship, simultaneous and measures of outcome and exposure variables. Advantages: it is fast and inexpensive to conduct, suitable for generating hypothesis, provides information about the prevalence of outcomes and measures. Strengths: it is quick and inexpensive, relatively fast to conduct, cost effective compared to other designs. Prevalence you can determine at the then and there only. You can get multiple associations between the multiple exposure factors, and ethical considerations are not what we say very stringent on these. How do we collect our data? Based on our questionnaires, interviews, and uh, even these interviews are not much expensive. Weakness: inability to assess the incidence which will happen in the future. It is not suitable for rare diseases. Causal inference cannot be established. Okay, we saw in the previous slide. And we can have sampling bias because we are taking only people who are available at that particular point of time. Okay. Next question, we have ecological studies in the concept of define them, and including the concept of ecological fallacy. What is ecological studies? Are a type of observational studies where data is collected at a group or population level rather than the individual. These studies are often used in public epidemiology to investigate the relationship between the environmental exposure and the health outcome. That means different population groups. Okay, data collection is gathered on groups or populations such as countries and states in a bigger way. Okay, analysis: researchers analyze the association between exposure variable, that is air pollution, and outcome of the variable, that is number of respiratory diseases in the group. Okay, what are the advantages? You can do it on the large scale. Okay, for generating hypothesis. It is cost effective in nature and helps in public health planning. Limitations: ecological fallacy means the primary limitation is the risk of ecological. We'll see the fallacy again later. Confounding variables: we have so many variables acting in the nature or the environment which we not take into account. And lack of specificity because we are not taking the data at individual level. What is ecological fallacy? Also known as ecological inference fallacy. It is an error. Okay, it is an error that occurs when conclusions about the individual level and the behavior are drawn from the group level data. When you take data from every individual person and you take the data from the higher level, the difference which occurs or the error which occurs is called as, from this to this, is called as ecological fallacy. This arises because relation between observed groups and do not necessarily hold. The statement of this, meaning of the statement is, whatever the relationship adverb between these two groups does not necessarily true for every individual in that group. It might change. We are looking at a larger picture. Okay, wealth and health. If a study of you're doing that, higher wealthier states have higher uh, health standards, it is wrong. They might be having lower health standards also. The other thing is diet and disease. An ecological study might show correlation between high sugar consumption and high rates of diabetes, but not necessarily all high sugar consuming patients are developing diabetes at the individual levels. How to avoid? Getting the individual data is more important, and we need to interpret in a cautious way while doing analysis and doing multi-level analysis, that is individual analysis and group level analysis. Okay. Next, we have explain community trials and their applications in public health. There is something called field trials and community trials also, which are of very near difference. We'll see one by one. Community trials are also known as community interventional trials or field trials. Okay. The other name of community trial is also called as field trial. In clinical trials, focus on individual participant, whereas community trials focus on communities or group of population. Methodology: selection of communities, intervention, implementation, data collection, and analysis. I think okay, these are these methods. In selection of communities, you take the random groups. You can divide them into two groups either intervention or the control group. In intervention implementation, while the control group does not receive the intervention or receives a standard intervention, data collection is collected before and after the intervention to measure its impact on health outcomes. Analysis, researchers compare the outcome between the intervention and control group, same as case control studies, control group and intervention group, sorry, at RCT, we have a control group and the intervention group. Implications in public health programs, disease prevention. Community trials are used to evaluate interventions aimed at preventing diseases such as vaccination campaigns, health education programs, and sanitation improvements. Okay, and health promotion, like you have given a public health program to one state, and the other state does not have that program, you can do the community trial between the two states. Okay, and it helps in framing the policies also in the national level and the state level. But just a minute. Sorry for the disturbance. Advantages in real world settings, conducted in it, since it is conducted in the real world scenarios, there is no other interventions are there or any other influence, in other interventions are there, so you can get the actual effective of the program. Okay, again it also will, it has a large scale impact and policy development. What are the limitations? Studying at the national level or the state level has its own complexities, like getting the population and making them understand and getting this study. Ethical considerations may arise when you do the international control program, which could cause harm, because when you go and ask for the reliable, you can ask the like example, failure of using condoms. People will not answer those questions. It has its own emotional considerations. Okay. Variability, it depends on educational status, cultural status, socioeconomic status, practices, all these things. So there is a huge variation when you do the community trial. Next, we have nested case control studies. These are all direct point-wise questions, so it is a little bit faster. Okay. A nested control study is a case control study. Okay. It is similar to case control study within a larger cohort. You have a very huge population. With that, you are doing a sub case control study. You can call it a subgroup as nested case control study. In this design, cases, individuals who develop the outcome of the interest, and controls, individuals who do not develop the outcome, are drawn from the population of fully enumerated cohort. Okay, what is the methodology? Selection of cases and controls are there. Cases are the individuals within the cohort who develop the outcome of the interest, and controls are selected from the same cohort but do not develop the outcome in the same group, which is a part of some hierarchy. Okay, controls are typically matched to the same. Like in case control study, you will match for age, gender, socioeconomic status, demographic status, race, etc. Here also you will match the same. In data collection, exposure data is collected retrospectively from cohort data. That means the cohort is already doing the data collection, you take it from there. Okay, that means it has already happened. You can get the data from the there. Analysis often uses methods for missing covariates, can include proportional hazards model and to estimate hazard ratios. It can be used in occupational studies where there is exposure of uranium, lead, coal, etc. It is very efficiency because you don't have to do a new study. It is already there. Cost effective because it is a part of some study. And reduction of bias because selecting controls from the same cohort does not cause the error. Feasibility allows to study rare outcomes within a large cohort because too much of data is available, you have to take part of the data. Use of existing data, it is already there. Okay. Example, nested case control studies. Within the nurses health study, researchers might investigate association between gene expression and breast cancer incidence. They would select women who developed breast cancers. Okay. Match them with women who did not get the cancer in the same cohort. What does we achieve in this? You are doing the breast cancer incidence study for something else, but you take the gene of that females who have got affected, and you compare with the females who have not developed. So this is one of the sub part of something else. Okay, this is a powerful tool to do epidemiological research because it is cost effective within the diet, within the data which is available, and there is no much of bias. Okay, coming to the field trials, we'll with examples of vaccination programs. Field trials, same, it is a community trial, not very much. Same points which I have written generally over there. We'll see the example. Communities, implementation, data collection analysis, same 4 points which were there before. Okay, then we'll see the example methodology. Polio vaccination campaign to evaluate the effectiveness of oral polio vaccine in reducing polio incidence in high-risk communities. Methodology, selection of communities in regions with high polio incidence are selected. Okay, random assignments, communities are randomly assigned to either intervention group or control group. Baseline data, again, data on polio incidence and other indicators are collected before intervention. The oral polio vaccine is administered to the intervention group. What do we do in the follow-up and data collections? Monitor polio incidence in both the groups over a particular period of time. Again, the same data is entered and compared. Okay, this is interpretation and reporting. You can write one example, that will be more than enough. Advantages, real world information you have. Public health impact, you can implement the policy of polio vaccine. After this, whether you can give it or not. And it is a community trial. You have the complete population whom you gain trust and which can enhance the vaccine uptake. Limitation, again, complexity and cost. Getting the population people should accept to take the vaccine. Ethical considerations again there, because vaccine can cause paralysis, which is a significant disability. Variability based on the economic status, health infrastructure availability, participation of people, etc. It was a very short class because it was all straightforward questions. MCQs, the cross-sectional studies are best suited for what? Prevalence of diseases. Okay. Ecological studies are characterized by, we have individual data for analysis, assessing population level association, high internal validity, and low risk of ecological fallacy. It is what? B is the answer. Okay. Ecological fallacy occurs when individual level are extrapolated to population levels. Population level data are misapplied to individuals, both A and B. Data exposure are missing. It is B. Population level data are misapplied to individuals. Community trials differ from field trials in that they focus on that are conducted in controlled lab trials are applied to entire populations, focus only on individual level interventions, are designed to assess prevalence. Answer B. Here, field trials are typically used for, now you know the answer, evaluating preventive interventions like vaccines. Nested case control studies are useful because they are reduce selection bias, true, require fewer resources, true, allow for temporal restrictions to be studied, true, all are correct. Which study design is least time consuming for collecting data? Cohort study, randomized control trial, cross-sectional study, and case control study. It is not, it is a very simple question, cross-sectional study. Ecological studies are most appropriate when data on individuals is available, studying associations at the group or population level, testing causal hypothesis, or conducting clinical trials, studying associations at the group or population level. A key limitation of cross-sectional studies is inability to measure prevalence, lack of temporal relationship between exposure and outcome, high cost and time requirement, limited generalizability. It is lack of temporal relationship between exposure and the outcome. The main purpose of the pilot study is to finalize the research methodology, to test feasibility of main study, evaluate effectiveness of the intervention, obtain conclusive results. No, it is feasibility all the time. This is for our class today. Thanks for watching. And Auricle has social media handles also on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Telegram. And we have users on apps on YouTube, sorry, Google Play and App Store. Please do download. Thanks for watching. See you next class.